Peace, peace, peace. What's going on, y'all? Glad to see you. Glad to see you. Let me just get my screening. This is gonna be a quick one. This one today is gonna be a real quick one because I think it's about the rain. I think it's about the rain, so I'm not gonna be too long. But yeah, peace and blessings to everybody. This is gonna be part three of my quantum Bible series. So basically, what we're gonna do today is we're gonna discuss light and bioluminescence. Bioluminescence is the idea or the phenomena of the body emitting light. One thing that people don't know is that the human body actually emits light, but it emits light that is weaker than what the human eye can detect. So all of us are aglow. All of us have light. All of us have energy that the body emits called biophotons. And these biophotons are the result of the workings of the body. The body is working, so it emits bioluminescence. Now, I wanted to talk about ways that we can manipulate bioluminescence and why it's very important. Now, let's start off with what it says in the Bible. In the Bible, it says, "The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be of light. But if thine eye be evil, the whole body shall be of darkness." Now, let's take it a step further and go a little bit deeper. What are they talking about when they say, if thine eye be single? So, what is the single eye? Everybody's born with two eyes. But if thine eye be single, they're talking about your third eye, the third eye being the mind. So, once the third eye has been focused on one thing, the whole body becomes light. What he's talking about, what Christ is speaking about, is increasing bioluminescence. Why is it important to increase your bioluminescence? Well, first of all, how do you increase your bioluminescence? You increase your bioluminescence by focusing on one thing. By hyper focusing on one thing and setting in your intention, you change how the body works. Yeah, it's about to rain in a minute, y'all. I ain't gonna be too long though. You alter and you change how the body works. By altering and changing how the body works, you open up your consciousness, then the body becomes light. When the body becomes light, what happens then? Well, we're gonna go back to a Sufi master. There's a Sufi master by the name of Sohravardi. Sohravardi was a Sufi philosopher who lived, hundreds and hundreds of years ago. He was a very brilliant man, and he came up with a branch of Islamic Sufi philosophy called Illuminationism. Illuminationism is the belief that everything is light, that God, the source of all things, is the ultimate light. Allah is the ultimate light. And everything else in the universe is made of light, but just varying degrees of light. So there is Allah, God, the brightest source of light from which all other lights come. And then there's lesser degrees of light until you come to us as human beings. We are simply just light. And the whole universe is just a beautiful interplay between light and darkness. Everything that exists is light. And what doesn't exist, whatever is in a state of unexistence or death, that is in darkness. Why is it important that we increase our bioluminescence? By increasing the light in our bodies, we make ourselves closer to divinity. We bring ourselves closer to God or Allah or Yahweh or whatever theological name you decide to give to the Supreme, which I refer to as the creative hyper reality. That creative hyper reality, according to Subrabadi, is light, but not just typical light that we experience, but a light that is so pure, so beautiful and divine. And by increasing your bioluminescence, you bring yourself closer. You break down the barriers between yourself and that ultimate light. Let's look at what Soravati says. This is the wrong one. Where's this? Where's that quote? Soravati. Where is it at? Okay. The supreme light is the source of all existence, since the universe and all its planes of reality consist in nothing more than degrees of light and darkness. The purpose of retreat. Oh, sorry. Uh, The purpose of retreat is to draw near to God, and the heart is filled with joy, and the filling of the heart with light strengthens the attractive force of the Spirit of God, which draws it. The heart, when polished, reflects the divine radiance. That breaks it down perfectly right there. By focusing your attention on God, that's what he means by retreat. By retreat, he means going into seclusion. Quite often, Sufi mystics will go into seclusion so that they can pray and meditate and focus all their mind and their attention on God. By increasing the mind and the attention on God, he does what they call polishing the heart. Polishing the heart simply means purifying oneself of of ego, purifying oneself of hate, purifying oneself of one's imperfections, polishing the heart so that we can reflect the radiance of God. And that's what happens to us when the eye is single, when the third eye is activated, when the third eye is when the third eye becomes active due to the focusing of the mind by setting intentions. What happens is that we begin to reflect the radiance of the divine. Our bioluminescence increases. And by increasing that bioluminescence, we sort of melt into the divine. You ever had a meditative experience where you felt like you were becoming one with everything around you? Once the mind is quiet, all barriers are broke down. The barrier between you and that tree, the barrier between you and the air, the barrier between you and the sun, everything becomes one. It is the unified field theory that's happening within your consciousness. Same thing with the divine. Once you focus the mind with intention and meditate, you increase the bioluminescence so that you can become one with the divine. This is what Sufi mystics are talking about when they use the term annihilation. Annihilation means that I am completely destroyed. There is no more me. There's no more me left because I have become one with the light of the divine, the source of all things, the ultimate light, which is God. I've become one with God by increasing my own bioluminescence. That bioluminescence is part of the radiance of the universe. And once you focus your mind on God and God alone, everything else falls away. Ibn Arabi speaks about that. He talks about annihilation. He says that one who truly loves God doesn't even have a name. What does he mean by that? He means that your whole identity is gone. When you focus your thoughts on God with such intensity and so much intent, you completely disappear. All that remains is the light. That's why many individuals, when they reach a certain level of meditation, they begin to see light. That light within you is being activated and being turned on. Quite often, you see certain individuals who meditate a lot, and people talk about how they could see an aura. You can see a color around them. You know, there's a mystic named Sadhguru who says that people depict the god Krishna as blue because that is his aura. That is the color of his aura, because he's so spiritually powerful that his skin becomes a different color. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that, but I understand what he's trying to communicate. What he's basically trying to communicate is that his bioluminescence has been activated to such a degree that he appears to be something different. He's not a normal human. He's not a normal person. He's been completely initiated and completely activated. His eye has become single and his whole body has become light. He's changed the frequency of his biochemistry. And when you change the frequency of something, you change the way it interplays with light. Therefore, you change its color. I get it. And that's what all of us are capable of. What do we have to do to become more bioluminescent so that we can become one with the radiance of the divine? Well, the answer is simple. You must set your mind and set your intention. Ibn Arabi, in his book, the Four Pillars of Spiritual Transformation, talks about how what he would have to do when he was in the state of seclusion, he had to completely seclude himself from other people, but he also had to seclude his mind and not think about anything else but God. As a matter of fact, he said the four pillars of spiritual transformation were silence, seclusion, vigilance, and hunger. And he said that silence, there were two kinds of silence. There was silence of the tongue, but also silence of the mind. He would only think about God. Seclusion meant separating yourself from everybody else, but also meant separating yourself from anything that's not God. Vigilance means to watch yourself, to make sure you check your progress constantly. And that hunger was physical hunger and controlling your physical hunger, but also sustaining an intense hunger for God and closeness with the Supreme. And once you are completely obliterated in your thoughts and in your intentions, and only thinking about God and only focusing on your mind on God and on elevating yourself to higher realms of consciousness, once that becomes the primary focus of your existence, thine eye becomes single and thy whole body becomes light. You melt into the light of the universe, the light of the Supreme. And we're not just talking about normal light, photonic light, biophoton light. We're talking about a light, a spiritual light, an inner light, a non-dimensional light, trans-dimensional light, omnidimensional light. That's why I use the phrase creative hyperconsciousness, because we're talking about something that I was talking creative hyper reality, excuse me, because we're talking about something that is beyond even our comprehension. That is the light that we are striving to become one with. That is the light we are striving to awaken within ourselves. Keep in mind that all of this is really just about you. Don't start thinking about the light as being something up there. You're trying to activate a light here. That's why Christ said, the light of the body is the eye, and once thine eye becomes single, thy whole body becomes light. Because ultimately, it's all about you. It's all about you and your relationship with self. You want to find God, you want to find that external light, you want to find that light of the supreme, you must look within. You got to activate this first. Once you activate this first and thine whole body becomes light, then you'll be able to tap into the radiance of a creative hyper reality. But first, you must tap into your own radiance. Peace and blessings. I'm about to go inside before this rain start coming down, y'all. Y'all hear that thunder?